English 11 Back to School Night presentation. The objective of the English 11 curriculum is to prepare students to learn independently in a 21st century world. Essentially, our world is changing, and the requirements for students to be able to learn are actually changing as well as resources are more available to them. My objective as a language arts teacher is to work with your students' language skills and to give them the opportunities to practice learning independently within my classroom so that they can be able to learn independently as adults. Essentially, we're going to be working on developing 4 skill sets that the independent learner has. The independent learner is able to think critically, they're able to communicate, they're able to collaborate, and they're able to use 21st century technological skills. So in this class, they'll be challenged on a number of different levels with their critical thinking, through their literature, through problem-based learning activities. The students will be thinking critically, communicating with one another, working together collaboratively, and we utilize a lot of technology in the class to have an opportunity to develop those 21st century skills. So we use Canvas in this class, which is a learning management system. Majority of their assignments are going to be uploaded into Canvas, and they'll be able to access their assignments, work on their assignments through that site. In addition, we have access to Chromebooks in this classroom, so I'll be teaching them how to utilize all of the Chromebook apps, which are really important life management skills that will benefit them as adult learners. The literature in this class is guided by the essential question, what is the American dream? So all of the work that we are doing in this class is geared to help them develop an understanding of what the American dream is. So the first quarter, we're going to be doing a story called A Separate Piece, which is written by John Knowles. And essentially, it's about 2 boys. They're best friends. They're very high-achieving, competitive boys. One is very strong in the academic world. The other one is very strong in the athletic world. And we kind of analyze the dynamics between people when competition is involved. And a large part of the American culture is to be competitive, to be able to compete. So we look at the pros and cons of competition and how it impacts our relationships. So that's the first quarter that we're going to be working on. The second quarter, we'll be doing an American short story unit. We'll be looking at some of our female authors, and we'll be looking at more of our feminine themes that are developed in American literature. The first story we're going to do is The Story of an Hour. We'll be doing A Rose for Emily, The Yellow Wallpaper, The New England Nun, and then The Mask of the Red Death is not a feminine piece, but it is Edgar Allan Poe, and it's really difficult to do American lit without having a Poe piece. So that's our short story unit that they're going to be working on during the second quarter. The third quarter, we're going to go into F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby, which is argued to be the classic American novel. They'll be doing a problem-based learning activity that they'll be actually reaching out to you, getting your ideas about what you think the American dream is. And we will be studying the story. And essentially the story is about a really, really poor guy who wants to find a way to fit into upper society and the measures that he will go to in order to be a part of that elite. And then the final piece of literature that we do is William Shakespeare's Othello. And Othello, while it's British lit, it's Shakespeare, the themes actually do match the American dream. Essentially, Othello is overlooked for a position that he believes he deserves. So we kind of look at that idea that in our culture, there's this belief that if you work hard enough, you will get what you deserve. And we're going to analyze what happens when that doesn't happen. So that's what Othello will be giving us an opportunity. So those are the pieces of literature. Depending upon snow days, different scheduling things, some things might have to be moved around, but that is my plan moving forward. Then we'll be working a lot on writing. The most important skill set that our 21st century students need is the ability to write. There is a higher need on writing now more than ever. So we will be working very, very deeply on your students' writing. I take a direct, explicit instruction approach to teaching students, which means I work and I tell them exactly, this is exactly how you write a paper. Write this, do this. I've created a methodology that's called the Woodard method of writing, in which I utilize the concepts of spatial, mathematical, and logical intelligences, which are located more on the right side of the brain. And essentially what we do is we tap into those areas and teach them how to write, and writing is a left brain activity. So we will be working very, very feverishly to develop your writing skills. During the second marking period, you will hear your students talk about this unit, and in the unit, they will have to write 5 essays at the same exact time, which is going to be overwhelming for them, but they get it done, and the end product is that they really know how to write an expository essay. We also continue our vocabulary development. Your students will be taking the ACTs, the SATs, and while there isn't necessarily vocab anymore on the SATs, it's really important that they understand the language that will be on the SATs through their reading and the different questions. So we continue to do our SAT development, our language development through the vocabulary. So what that ends up being is 15 units that they will be taking, 20 words a unit, and it will count as 20% of their grade. And they will be working through the Sadler-Oxford book. Then we will also be working on our grammar, obviously continuing our mastery of those skills. Students at this point have been taught all the lessons of grammar, and now they just need practice and interventions to kind of hone in on those skills. A lot of that will occur through their writing. As I notice different issues that your students will be having lessons based on their needs. So grading and assessment return. My class is a little bit different than some of the other classes that they might have encountered. We do what's referenced as a workshop model. So a lot of the work, in fact, almost all of the work will be completed in class. This is a homework-free zone. I don't assign homework in the class for a number of reasons, but essentially all of the work that they will be given class time to do that. And they will be assessed constantly in a formative way and a summative way. And the formative way is just to give me an understanding of where are they at, what other teaching do I have to do to help them get to where their understanding is. So there will be assignments that are completion grades. So if it's a 20-point assignment and they did it, if they completed it, they get 20 points. And that's a formative assessment. What I'm doing is I'm having them do the work so that I can look at the assessment and see what type of other teaching I need to do. And then there will be other lessons that will be summative, and that will be where I will be measuring the mastery of their skill set. And that looks more like a test or an essay where they would get an actual specific grade. All of our work will be done on Canvas, so there isn't really a return. You just ask your child to pull up their Canvas account and you'll be able to see their tests and their grades. So that's pretty much how it works. I will be communicating grades through Hack. However, please know that a lot of my grading is time sensitive in the sense that it takes me a while to grade it because there's a lot of reading involved with it. So I just ask for your patience on that. Quizzes, different things like that, that gets done almost immediately. That'll be graded the same day or automatically through Canvas, so you'll be able to get an assessment of that. The best way to understand what your child is receiving in the class is to just have a conversation with them about what's going on in the class. And also, you are always welcome to email me or call me, and I can give you information about what's happening with your student's grade. So again, the big objective that I have this year with your students is to try to prepare them for working independently. That's again back to the workshop model. Your students essentially are going to come into the classroom. They'll be provided a series of tasks that they're going to complete. They'll have the opportunity in the class to work. I'll be meeting with them in small groups throughout the week to touch base with them, check in with them, and then give them information, maybe do small little group lectures, different things like that. But the objective is we really want them to be able to interact with language on their own and be able to kind of work and learn independently. So I'll be coaching them up this year, getting them used to that skill set, because as they become adult learners, regardless of whether they go to college or out into the workforce, that independent skill is going to be something that's very, very important. So I just want to let you know that I am available through email or any other issues if you want to touch base and talk to me about your child. I look forward to working with your kid, and please email me any questions that you may have.